So another question that I received about intuition was, can you give us any examples of times that you successfully used your intuition? And I laugh a little bit because anytime I've used my intuition, it's been successful. It's not to say that every feeling I've ever had has been correct, but when I've trusted my intuition, that feeling, that knowing, that nudging, even if it wasn't the answer that I wanted to hear or the result that I thought I wanted, trusting my intuition never steered me wrong. Now, I'm going to give you a pretty intense example of trusting your intuition when, you could look pretty nutty to the outside world. So I think that is, this is a really good example of having that faith in yourself and that trust in yourself, even if you can't really quite explain it, to go with the feelings, right? Okay, so 2020, I'm living in San Francisco with my husband at the time, completely healthy. I'm young, I don't know how many years ago, 23 years ago, so I'm like 30 years old. And I just, one day, my hand just literally went like this to my throat, and I was like, something's there. So I couldn't get over this feeling that there was something wrong right here. So I went to my primary care doctor. He checked me out, all the vitals, checked my lymph nodes. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't feel anything. And I'm like, no, it is literally, it's right here. And I could see in my mind's eye, like exactly where to point him. And he did some manual manipulation and said nothing's wrong. I left and I could not shake it. So I called him and I said, I know that you said nothing's wrong, but I really want a second opinion. So I go back, see another doctor, same thing. They're like, you're fine. At that point, I cannot get over this intense feeling that I really need to see some specialist. I said, okay, well, what is even here? Like, obviously it's not my throat. I don't even know what's behind here. Is this just my throat? And they said, it's your thyroid. And I'm embarrassed to admit, I didn't even know what the thyroid did or that it was there. So I said, great, I want to see a thyroid specialist. They thought I was insane. They made the appointment. Thank goodness I had great insurance at the time. And I went in to see a specialist who, within about a minute, said, who told you that you have nodules on your thyroid? And I said, I don't know. I got to tell you, I literally just did this one day right here. And he looked at me like I was insane. Totally didn't believe me. And he said, yeah, there's no way that you could feel those because of the way they're positioned. So who told you? Like, all right, that is literally the end of the story. But I was pointing literally exactly to where the nodules were. Thank goodness they turned out to be benign, but it is something that I regularly check. And it's a pretty significant example of your intuition just being aware of your physical body and really standing up for those nudges. So very long story, but there's one example. I've got many others. And in fact, I talk a lot about them in my book, When Shit Goes Sideways. There were a lot of nudges and a lot of intuition around my son, Max, and his very short life. And I intuited a lot of what was happening before and during that situation. So your intuition really can, when you're used to, when you listen to it, it can really provide a lot of valuable information.